Hello and welcome to this pit stop for Mythic Battles Pantheon, designed by Benoit Vogt and published by Monolith and Mythic Games. In Mythic Battles Pantheon, 2 to 4 players are going to take control of a set of units from gods, heroes, monsters and troops, and they're going to be battling over one of 4 boards in the base game in a certain scenario, attempting to defeat each other by either defeating each other's god or collecting the most omphalos. Now, omphalos is the residual power of gods who have been destroyed in a battle in a revised Greek mythology in which Hera has unleashed the Titans again. The gods and Titans have been battling, gods have been reduced in power, and they're attempting to regain their power by capturing this omphalos. At the beginning of most scenarios, players are going to put together a set of units to make up their force. And as I said, they could be gods like Zeus, heroes like Atalanta, monsters like Minotaurs, or troops like the Amazons. Once a player has established what units are in their force, they're going to collect the cards of each of those units, shuffle them together and make themselves a deck. And on the turn, you're going to choose one of the cards from your hand and you're going to activate that unit. So, we're going to activate Zeus. What can Zeus do? Zeus can choose to move. Can either walk, which is according to their movement stat. Now, each of these units has got these stats on here, which tells them how far they can walk, how good they are in combat, etc. With the troops just having a basic card down here because their stats never change. And Zeus can walk, and that's fine. And then you can do a second activation, such as attacking. Now, it's not going to be much of a battle unless you can attack each other. So, when a unit is within range of another unit, they look at their attack stat and they take that number of dice and they're going to roll them. They're going to look at the defense stat of the unit they're attacking and they're going to see how many they can achieve off that defense value. Now, any blanks are thrown away. Let's say this Medusa had a defense value of 4. We haven't rolled any 4s, we've just got 2 3s. But what we can do is discard 1 die at a time to up the value of these dice. And discard this one. And now we've got 2 4s with this dice going to waste, which is 2 hits against Medusa. Medusa would have to move their stats bar down 2. If you're attacking from a range 0 like this, Medusa would then get a chance to retaliate back at the Minotaur and roll dice to attack them. However, with the more powerful units, they have a defense of more than 5, which you cannot achieve in one roll. The way to do that is to have a second assault. Now, again, 0s are wasted. What we're going to attempt to do is get as many dice as possible up to a 5. In this case, if I throw those 2 away, that becomes a 5. And I'll save this one. I then get to roll this 5 again. And whatever the result is, I get to add 5 to it. So this is a result of 10. Now, if that hadn't got there, say that I'd just got to a 6 with a 1, I could add this dice to it to make it a 7. And if the defense Medusa did happen to be 7, by doing that, I would get 1 hit on it. But my roll of 10 was good enough, and again, Medusa's health would be reduced by 1. The other things you can do on your turn are, this is the omphalos I'm discussing. And a normal unit can claim this omphalos, which doesn't score you any points yet because they'll have to bring it back to the god. And when it's in the god's area, they can spend an action to claim the omphalos, which is going to score you 1 point. You're also going to get an omphalos card, which can be discarded later to heal 1 vitality on your god, or it's going to give you more tactical options. The last thing you can do is run, which means you get to move a lot quicker than normal. However, running and absorbing omphalos are complicated actions and they leave you more vulnerable, meaning you cannot use your talents or your non-passive powers. So, what are talents and powers? Well, each unit is individual and it's got its own different things it can do. For example, for Zeus, with a mighty throw, when he rolls 0s in attack, he can pick up units, depending upon the size of them, and throw them 1 unit. As a leader, he makes troops better around him, and as a block, he prevents units from moving away from him unless they also have block. Atalanta has got initiative and climb, meaning if you attempt to attack Atalanta from a range 0, she gets her strike in first unless you've got initiative. And for climb, well, depending upon the map you're on, there can be certain types of terrain which you'll be able to jump on and get an attack bonus from being up there. There's also powers. Now, powers are activated by these Art of War cards, which also go into your deck, and they give you several options. So for powers, they might activate Zeus's lightning bolt, allowing him to attack far away and throw lightning into an area. Or Atalanta can dodge attacks coming into her, or become a huntress, allowing her to shoot her bow, walk, and then do a stab attack. The Minotaur can charge through areas, attacking every unit he goes through. And all of the gods, monsters, and heroes have got special powers like that. As well as activating powers, by spending an Art of War card, you're able to activate a second unit on your turn. The other things you can do with Art of War cards are to search in your deck for a particular card that you might think you might need. Maybe I desperately need those Amazons to activate. Might allow you to draw 2 extra cards by spending an Art of War card. Or if flying units which aren't in this base game can evade using Art of War cards. While that's the base scenario, while you're attempting to collect omphalos or destroy each other's gods, there are many other scenarios within the base game which allow you to play cooperatively, for example, or dictate what units you can have on your side, or there's games in which one player will be a team of monsters and the others are attempting to slay them, or there's a short campaign of 3 scenarios where you take on different Greek factions. Now there are lots of units which come in the game. The other gods are Hades, who can cast an inferno into different areas and becomes more powerful every time any unit dies. We've got Ares, the god of war, who can activate a second time on his turn using Art of War cards and can do huge attacks in an area. We've got Athena, who can send her owl out to attack for her and also allows you to do second or third activations as one of her powers. For monsters, the Medusa can petrify units, which cost you a card in order to get them back into the game. We've got the Hydra. Hydra constantly regenerates their heads. We've got Cerberus, who can do several attacks against any unit in range to them. We've also got heroes like Achilles, who's more difficult to hit and never rolls zeros when they attack. You've got Leonidas, who's a great leader of troops and bolsters their powers. We've got Heracles, who can pick up items of terrain like this and throw them and attack other units. We've also got Odysseus, and Odysseus can activate other units without causing Art of War to be spent and also lets you draw extra cards. There are also extra troops like Centaurs and Spartans and Infernal Warriors, and there's extra bits of terrain and all sorts involved in the base game of Mythic Battles Pantheon. This has been a Game Pit Stop. For more videos like this, check out the Game Pit channel on YouTube. And for more in-depth coverage of games, please find the Game Pit podcast.